ever have one of those moments where everything you thought you knew about a celebrity feud suddenly flips upside down? That's exactly what happened when Nicki Minaj, who's famously clashed with Cardi B, spoke out on Cardi's behalf and against Offset. Fans had no idea what to make of it because for ages, these two women were painted as sworn enemies. And now, it seems like Nicki is stepping up, not to tear Cardi down, but to question Offset's behavior and show solidarity. This entire situation is so unexpected that people are wondering, is Nicki Minaj doing this out of genuine concern, or is there a hidden motive behind the scenes? Because let's be honest, Nicki and Cardi haven't been on the best of terms, yet here she is, seemingly defending Cardi in the chaos of Offset's ongoing controversies. This sudden shift has sent the internet into a frenzy, with some labeling Nicki miserable for getting involved and others praising her for helping Cardi see the truth about her estranged husband. But there's more to the story than just Nicki swooping in to save the day. Hidden in the background is an entire history, rumors, cryptic posts, behind-the-scenes drama, and allegations that Offset tried to get with Nicki before Cardi B even entered the picture. Add to this the swirling speculation that Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, might have beef with Offset for reasons that go way beyond casual rivalry. Get comfortable, because we're about to dive into the layers of tension, heartbreak, and downright shocking revelations that have come to define this trio's complicated web. The story isn't just about petty social media posts or cryptic tweets. It's about life-threatening threats, alleged emotional manipulation, and a potential alliance between two music powerhouses who can't stand each other. Let's rewind to the beginning, where the friction between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B first became a defining narrative in hip-hop culture. Their rivalry was the stuff of headlines for years, from sneaky shade in lyrics to public run-ins that blew up into full-on fiascos. Both of them were and still are powerful women in rap, with legions of fans who fiercely backed their favorite. People initially picked up on tension around the time Cardi's breakout single catapulted her to stardom. Industry insiders claim that the sudden rise threatened Nicki, who'd ruled the rap game for nearly a decade. While the beef was partly fueled by fan speculation, both women had subtle digs for each other, coded lines in their verses, sly tweets that never mentioned names but were obviously about the other, and interviews where each tried to downplay the drama without fully hiding it. As for Offset, he started popping into this narrative when he began dating Cardi. After all, it was her relationship and later marriage to Offset that brought her personal life into the spotlight. Though Nicki never publicly stated she had a personal vendetta against Cardi just because of Offset, rumors swirled that Offset once tried to get close to Nicki romantically. These rumors got overshadowed by the more public blowouts between Cardi and Nicki. But if you look under the surface, you'll find endless receipts. From alleged screenshots of Offset's flirty behavior, to speculation that he'd show up anywhere Nicki performed, hoping for a chance to catch her eye. In the midst of all this, the music industry seemed to pit Nicki and Cardi against each other, driving them to trade increasingly intense jabs. Meanwhile, fans stoked the flames. Anytime Cardi had a personal or professional win, some supporters teased Nicki for falling off, while Nicki's barbs retaliated by claiming Cardi was just a copy of Nicki. It turned into a messy cycle of blame, rumors, and heartbreak, especially with Offset's name creeping into the mix. Fast forward to the chaotic few weeks that turned all eyes on Cardi B. She was no stranger to drama, but this time, it wasn't about chart wars or social media shade. This was about her real life being turned upside down. Cardi hopped on live streams to spill secrets about how Offset had repeatedly caused turmoil in her personal space. She accused him of threatening to off himself if she didn't cave to his demands, a haunting claim that had fans worried for both their mental health. Though Cardi's tone suggested she wasn't entirely convinced by his unalive threats, perhaps thinking it was more manipulation than truth, it didn't erase the fact that the situation sounded toxic. But there was more. Cardi hinted at repeated emotional intimidation, telling her followers that Offset had ruined special moments and even sabotaged her Valentine's Day celebrations. At first, people assumed it was just another spat between a couple with a history of public arguments. Then, Cardi dropped the bomb. She regretted having kids with him because now she felt tied to his antics forever. That was huge. It wasn't a mild statement of frustration. It sounded like a woman who'd been pushed past her limit. She blamed him not just for petty issues, but for fundamentally wrecking her peace of mind. Fans started to question what else Offset might be doing behind the scenes. After all, if Cardi was willing to air out these brutal details in a public forum, it meant she'd been bottling them up for a long time. Suddenly, the conversation pivoted to Offset's rumored methods of control. If Cardi's allegations were true, it went beyond typical cheating scandals. She suggested he was sending intimate videos of them to people she was seeing, or at least threatening to. That kind of revelation made many question how far Offset would go to keep her tied to him. It wasn't just about humiliating Cardi, it was about psychologically tormenting her. She spoke about him calling her phone at odd hours, leaving explicit voicemails and ensuring she never felt safe or free from his reach. This went beyond your standard post-breakup bitterness. It was an onslaught of emotional manipulation designed to keep her on edge. One especially chilling part of the story was the idea that Offset and his new girlfriend were collaborating to send Cardi ominous messages. For Cardi, this was the ultimate betrayal. She already had to cope with the heartbreak of their separation and the challenge of co-parenting. But now there seemed to be a smear campaign orchestrated to depict her as obsessed with Offset, when, according to her, it was the other way around. Fans erupted with theories. Some believed it was all hype, a ploy to keep Cardi's name trending or to promote new music. Others insisted there was real danger in these voicemails and messages, pointing out that if someone is threatening to unalive themselves or their ex, that's not just tabloid drama, it's a possible crisis. Cardi's frustration was evident in every clip, and people debated whether her live confession was the only way she felt safe revealing the truth. As the tension escalated, public curiosity shifted from "is Cardi lying?" to "why is Offset going this far?" That's where Nicki Minaj's name started creeping back into the headlines. Allegedly, Nicki knew all along what Offset was capable of, because she'd had her own run-ins with his intrusive behavior. Out of nowhere, Nicki started posting suspiciously well-timed messages that seemed to back Cardi. Nicki had been keeping a relatively low profile, so when she appeared with cryptic posts that seemed aimed at Offset, everyone's jaw dropped. For years, if Nicki mentioned Cardi at all, it usually wasn't kindly. Now she looked almost protective. Sure, it was subtle, nothing like a press statement. But if you followed Nicki long enough, you learned to read between the lines. Those tweets and captions looked suspiciously like encouragement for Cardi to keep her head up. Instead of jabbing at her or mocking her struggles, Nicki's tone was, well, almost compassionate. Some fans immediately suspected a ploy. Maybe Nicki just wanted to troll both Cardi and Offset in some twisted game of mind control. Others said, wait a minute, maybe Nicki's grown past the pettiness and sees a woman in crisis. It's important to note that Nicki isn't known for jumping in to defend someone she's publicly feuded with. This entire switch-up left people second-guessing everything they thought they knew. Some cynics labeled it a strategic move. By backing Cardi, Nicki could further discredit Offset, a man she's allegedly loathed for years. Others, however, saw it as a personal reflection of Nicki's own experiences with manipulative men in the industry. Maybe she recognized the pattern and felt compelled to speak up. To truly grasp why Nicki might stand up for Cardi, you need to look at the rumored romantic past between Nicki and Offset. Stories claim Offset tried cozying up to Nicki before Cardi B was on his radar. He allegedly left thirsty comments under Nicki's Instagram posts, showed up at her public appearances, and did his best to get noticed by her team. But Nicki Minaj was, and still is, a savvy businesswoman. She'd already navigated the treacherous waters of the music industry, where opportunists often try to latch onto famous figures for clout. If the rumors are correct, Nicki was not about to let Offset ride her wave. She had no interest in boosting his career. Then, as fate would have it, Cardi B arrived on the scene, fresh-faced and skyrocketing to stardom with Bodak Yellow. Offset saw an opportunity, jumped on the Cardi train, and the two quickly became an item. With all that backstory, you might wonder why Nicki Minaj would suddenly side with Cardi B. There are theories aplenty. One is that Nicki genuinely recognizes an abusive pattern in Offset's behavior and feels morally compelled to speak out, even if it means defending someone she's historically clashed with. Another possibility is that Nicki sees this as the perfect way to hit Offset where it hurts, by supporting the woman he allegedly tormented. Still, empathy could be the real motivator. Nicki has faced numerous challenges in the industry, from betrayal by close associates to media blackouts. She knows how it feels when people you once trusted twist your words or sabotage your career. Seeing Cardi exposed to threats, explicit content leaks, and intrusive harassment might have struck a chord. There's also the angle of mutual experiences. Both women soared in a male-dominated industry only to find themselves pitted against each other. Perhaps Nicki understands the pressure of being overshadowed by a high-profile partner or having your personal life become tabloid fodder. Regardless, one thing is obvious. Nicki's involvement changed the game. Suddenly, the public realized this wasn't just another Nicki versus Cardi spat. It was more about shining a light on Offset's actions. Nicki's subtle show of support added credibility to Cardi's claims. After all, if Nicki, who's had every reason in the world to despise Cardi, was siding with her, maybe there truly is something off about Offset's behavior. At the heart of this chaos stands a bewildering puzzle. Nicki Minaj, a woman who's publicly clashed with Cardi B, is seemingly stepping in to back her up against Offset. The same Offset who allegedly pursued Nicki in the past, only to drop her the moment Cardi's star began to rise. The same Offset who threatened Kenneth Petty, only to end up humiliating himself and triggering legal consequences for Nicki's husband. For Cardi B, this may be both a relief and a point of confusion. Does she really want help from someone she once saw as a rival? Or is this the moment both women realize they've been manipulated by the same man all along? The synergy of their experiences might just turn years of animosity into a newfound mutual understanding, but it could just as easily ignite a fresh feud if egos get in the way. As the dust settles, fans and industry watchers are left with more questions than answers. Will Cardi officially acknowledge Nicki's gestures of support? Is Offset panicking behind the scenes trying to patch the damage or spin the narrative? And most importantly, will any of this bring peace and closure to the complicated dynamic between three of hip-hop's most talked-about figures? In a realm where celebrity drama often feels orchestrated, this particular saga carries an unsettling note of authenticity. There's real pain beneath the flashy headlines, from Cardi's heartbreak to Nicki's complicated feelings about her old industry alliances. Whether you sympathize with them or judge them for airing their dirty laundry, one thing is clear. These revelations have changed the conversation. For anyone watching from the outside, it's a reminder that what we see on social media barely scratches the surface of what's really happening in these stars' personal lives. There's heartbreak hidden behind glamorous red carpets, unspoken alliances overshadowed by Twitter feuds, and sometimes the unlikeliest of people end up on the same side when they realize they've been battling the same demon all along. The final takeaway? Nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Nicki Minaj defending Cardi B might be the strangest twist yet, but in a story filled with heartbreak, manipulation, and second-guessing, perhaps it makes perfect sense. If these once rival rap queens can put aside their differences to expose a shared foe, then maybe we're witnessing an evolution in the Nicki vs. Cardi narrative. Only time will tell if this unity is here to stay, or if it's just another short-lived truce before the next storm brews. Until then, all we can do is watch, speculate, and wonder. Did Offset's actions finally cross a line so severe that even Nicki Minaj can't ignore it? Or is there a deeper motive we haven't uncovered yet? One thing's for sure, in the world of hip-hop drama, alliances shift fast, and the only constant is that nothing stays secret for long.